If someone were to tell me this is where Raphael Bob Waxberg was going to head after Bojack Horseman, I wouldn't have believed them. It feels like Netflix didn't really have too much faith on this show. They didn't even try to promote it. So here I am, promoting it for them, even if it's for my small little audience. I made a video talking about the announcement of Long Story Short. We got some key concept art and the synopsis for the show. By the time the trailer came out, I was too busy to make a video on it. The show's been out for about a month now, and I'm about all done with it. Let's make a video for those people that want to jump into the show, but just don't know if it's for them. Hey guys, what's going on? It is me, Pancake Yoshi, or Alberto. Welcome back to the video, the first of its kind. I'm starting a new series on this channel. I hope you guys are excited to see the format. In case you're wondering, this idea is diluted from GameRanks. They review games and drop their first impressions on the day of release. But since I don't get early access to these shows, and I have to watch them in their entirety, it might take me a little while until the video comes out. For now, until I get better at it. Anyways, long story short, we'll keep this first section spoiler free, and only showcase clips that happened in the first couple of episodes. When I first came into this show, I didn't know what to expect. Is this Bojack Horseman, or is it something new? I'd have to say it's something somewhere in between. There is definitely some Bojack Horseman humor that we all know and love. Most of it can be found in the mattress episode. If you know, you know. But besides the humor, and there's lots of it, it has a beautiful, almost melodic motif found in the subtext of the show. I didn't notice it until my bro pointed it out, but there is, without a doubt, a formula that every episode follows. And once you notice it, it makes the show that much more enjoyable. Pretty much, at the start of the episode, there's usually a scene set in the distant past that showcases some traumatic plot point, MacGuffin if you will, or event that carries through the rest of the episode. Think of it as the central theme of the episode, and in one way or another, everything that happens in the episode relates to it in some form. An example of this is Shira and Avi in the early 90s sharing a beach day, and when Avi leaves Shira to drown so that he can play some ball with some kids, she carries this trauma throughout her entire life. Later in the episode, we learn that Shira wants to ask Avi for his little swimmers as a surrogate for her children with Kendra. And after some intense back and forth, we learn that Shira, her entire life, has been terrified of asking anyone for help because of this moment that happened in her life. And she even ends up mentioning this moment to Avi later in the episode. Although not always on the nose like this, the beginning sequence is essential to understanding the motifs and emotions behind the character that we are focusing on the episode. I found myself really jamming to the intro sequence after the second episode. It grew on me, like the Bojack Horseman intro, where you might not like it at first, but it really catches on. There's a bittersweetness to it, and like the rest of the show, you feel that every page is written with real human emotion that relates to what I'm assuming is Mr. Raphael's real life experiences. It just feels so genuine, and something like that is really hard to come up with. I learned in college, my professor told me that writing about your own real life experiences is 10 times easier than coming up with something on the spot. And here, you really get the vibes that Raphael is talking about his own life experiences. It comes more naturally when you talk about your shared life experiences, and although I'm not familiar with Mr. Bob Waxberg personally, there is so much heart in this family that it feels almost undeniable. I mentioned this to my siblings, but when I was watching the show, it really reminded me of my family, except make it a Mexican family instead of a Jewish one. I really related to Yoshi. Other than being a fellow pancake, Mr. Yoshi is the youngest in his family, and the oddball of his family. His way of thinking is different from the rest, and even though it's different, it doesn't mean it's worse or bad. He uses it as almost a strength, and it helps him make life decisions. And kinda like me, he was the last one to leave the nest of his parents' house. You come to learn a lot about Yoshi as the season progresses, and honestly, every left and right turn seems valid for his character. And in the same way, you learn about Avi and his relationship with his daughter Hannah, which is another well-written story. He wants to be protective to his daughter that is growing up faster than his eyes can blink, and his relationship with Jen, although estranged, is pretty mature and healthy. We learn about Kendra and Shira pretty early on in the show, and seeing the relationship grow into the big happy family that we get to see at the end was probably one of the most normal things to happen to this family. Once we get the Kendra-centered episode, we learn about her backstory, her morals, and why she's placed in the position she's in. Jumping from one era to another was probably the coolest thing about this show. We get to see the family grow. From the moment they purchase a house, each of the children grow up. Yoshi's bar mitzvah, Avi having his daughter, Shida's family, Yoshi's relationships, COVID and post-COVID, with only a couple scenes that take place before the 90s. It really puts you in the perspective of time, something that we don't usually see the same way. I'm currently 23, and let me tell you, I started to relate to the beats of the show. My childhood, I experienced COVID in my teen years, and now, one of my best friends is a father. I'm going into my second age now, and seeing the show really helped me take a deep breath, because there is still a lot more life that I have to live. Even though I am Ankh, there are still a lot of experiences that me and a ton of people have yet to do. And in the same way, I put myself in the position of Yoshi here. The humor is about as goofy as you would want from a cartoon. They have freaking mattresses in tubes, but seeing the family members all separate, go through the motions of life, and come together was a sight to see. And then there's Naomi's story, who left an impact on a ton of people in the show in a different way. Although you can consider her family to be dysfunctional, she still really loved her family and everyone who came into her life. Something happens to her in the show, and you can just kind of see how it affects each member of the family. Everyone in the entire world has an impact on another, and Naomi helped a lot of people, even characters that she would spend little time with, like Kendra and Jen. The season ends with them all uniting for one last event, all together in one place. Each of their lives, one way or another, brought them to that point, and from there, their lives could take them anywhere else. That's the thing about free will. You can do absolutely whatever you want with your life. It is yours for the taking. It is still unclear what Raphael's gonna do after this season. Is he gonna make a second season? Or is he done making shows altogether? My best bet is we are going to get a second season, although there is nothing that is currently announced for it. There is so much they can do from where they left off with this family. Hannah's bar mitzvah, Elliot's retirement plan, Jen's new boyfriend, Yoshi's new job. There's just so much they can do. There are also a lot of questions that were left unanswered. Is Kendra still at her job? Does Danny and Yoshi work together? Did Shida teach Kendra a work-life balance? But there is also the opportunity to expand to other families. Like, they could totally make a season 2, an entirely different family, and create an original story from there. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. In my last video, I did mention that some people found the animation style to be an eyesore, and while I can agree that the colors are pretty saturated, if you watch the show, the background and foreground blend pretty nicely and don't lead to too much eye strain. I am always down for a new artistic interpretation. Like, where's the fun in making everything look the same? I can honestly say that he did a pretty good job at differentiating it from Bojack, but carrying the legacy of his personal art style. But, long story short, the family is dysfunctional, but fun to watch, even though you might tear up a time or two. That is my first impressions and thoughts of the show. It is honestly really good. I'd really recommend watching it. If you guys have seen the show, let me know what you guys think. Did it meet your guys' expectations, or did it fall short? And if you haven't watched the show, was this a good video to get you hyped to watch the show? Let me know. Let me know what your guys' favorite episode was as well. I really like the Yoshi and Baby one, and the Wolves one was really good too. As always, my name's been Alberto, or Punkkick Yoshi. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye bye.